Hi everyone. Tonight I'm going to be tying a loop wing blue wing olive merger pattern that I learned from a friend of mine named Ken McLean. Now Ken was demonstrating this at Little River Outfitters in early January of 2019, and I was really impressed by this pattern. I think it's going to work really well when the blue wing olives are coming off. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to start out with some 16-aught olive done Veevus thread. Oh, in the vise I have a Umpqua U202 size 18 Scud hook. Now I start the thread about 2 eye lengths behind the eye of the hook, and I'm going to wrap that all the way back to the bend. Well, this hook is bent, curved, so it's really hard to tell where, but I usually like to go as far as I can. Let me trim off that tag end. And that should be fine right about there, I think. Maybe a little further. Okay, now for the tail, I'm just going to take a few fibers from a wood duck feather, about let's say about 2 or 3. Let's go 4 since this is a size 18. It really doesn't matter how many, you just want to be few and sparse to make a little shuck. You remember, this is supposed to imitate a bug that is in between the larvae stage and the adult stage. So that shuck is going to be trailing behind it a little bit. Okay, I got the tips lined up. Now you want this to be roughly, I'd say, anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 the length of the shank of the hook. Do the pinch wrap. There, we got it on it. Now I'm going to wrap those. We want to keep these on the top of the shank of the hook, and then wrap the back to where you started your thread, binding down the butt ends of the mallard duck. Okay, trim off those butt ends. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to take that thread back to where we tied in the feather, the wood duck. Alright, now I'm just going to let that thread hang there for a sec while I get a olive. This is an olive colored peacock quill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil eraser, and I am going to strip the fibers off of the peacock herl, and what you're going to end up with is a clear quill of the herl. Now this pattern, I suppose, would work well with other mayfly insect mergers. I've done it in a sulfur colors, and it looks really good, and I can't wait to try it out this summer. Blue wing olives usually come off here in Tennessee, in the Smokies, in the late winter months to early spring. We're almost done here. Okay. Now we've got that all nice and stripped. Got all those fibers. All you got left is the quill. And we're going to take the small end of the smaller end of the quill, and we're going to tie it in where at the end of the body by the tail. Okay. For those of you that are not too familiar with peackock herl, it is a very fragile material, and you want to be very careful wrapping this around, not to pull too tightly or it will break, and hopefully it will not for us today. And when you're wrapping this, be careful that the point of the hook, because one little nick will significantly weaken the quill, and it will break. Okay, I'm going to take it back up to where we started the thread. And then we're going to take 1, 2, 3, and 4 for a good measure. Wraps a thread around that fiber, binding it down, around that quill, binding it down. So now we're going to cut off the end of that quill, and be very careful not to cut your thread. There we go. And I still got a good section of quill left. I can save that for another fly. Okay, now like I said, that quill is very fragile material. Now, to help, if you're having a good day on the river or stream, whatever, and you catch some fish with this, trout do have teeth, even though they're very small, and it will beat up the fly and thereby breaking the quill. So what we do to counteract that, and it also gives it a little bit of a shimmer in the water, is we take Sally Hansen's clear, hard as nails, clear nail polish, and we're going to coat that quill, and when this dries, it'll make it quite a bit stronger. And also give it a little bit of a shine in the water. It's a little too much, so I'm going to get a needle here, and I'm going to pull some of that off so it doesn't bulk up the body too much. Okay. Alright. Well, normally I'll let that dry, but since I'm recording and this fly will probably be just for decoration, I will go ahead with the next step. Normally I would let it sit 5-10 minutes to dry before wrapping the Thorax, which is going to be made of the same kind of peackock herl, but with the fibers on it still. So I'm tied in right there, near right behind where we wrapped in. Oh, I'm sorry, you got to back up. I missed this step here. All right, we need. Where did I put some? I don't know if you can see it. Light done CDC. Just take one little puff out of this. That's a little too big. Here we go. Here's a good one. And this is what it looks like out of the package. And what we're going to do is stroke those fibers towards the front. We're going to tie this in like so. And we're going to bind them down, wrap back a little ways. Alright, that's going to be your wing once we're all done with this. Alright. I think what we're going to do, we're going to take some Superfine olive colored dubbing, and we're going to make a dubbing noodle on this. I use Superfine for this because this is an emerger, so this bug is going to be, this fly is going to be right under the surface of the water. You don't want it sinking down too deep. So the Superfine is a dry fly synthetic dubbing that doesn't create a lot of water weight, and it helps it stay up towards the surface. Alright. Start out thin. You can always put more on. There's a saying in dubbing, less is more. You put too much more, it's a pain in the ass to, oops, excuse my language, pain in the butt to take off. I've learned that many times. Practice makes perfect, I guess. Now you see how that made a little bit of a, it's a little on the thin side, so I'm going to add a little bit more. We want it to be, this is for the Thorax, so you want it to be a little bit thicker. There we go, that's looking good. Tighten up that dubbing. Alright, that looks good. Got a little dubbing ball. Now I'm going to take this CDC and we're going to create a loop here. You're going to take the thread, well, with the thread back up towards the eye, you're going to make a little loop like that, and you're going to take 1 and 2 loose wraps. Now, you don't want that wing to be too big, so you want to just from the front pull these at the same time, trying to keep them on top. Pull the CDC down, and then a little bit more. All right. Now we're going to tighten. We're going to take some more wraps while holding that wing up on top to tighten it down. And that looks so good. Yeah, it's shifted. All right, let's do this again. There we go. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Alright, see this right here? This end? We're going to cut that off. Okay. Now, I like a little bit of a pronounced head on my fly, so I'll build up a thread head here. You don't want it too big, but you also got to remember it's supposed to look like a bug, and bugs do have little heads. So now we've got the head built up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and whip finish. Take 1, 2, 3, 4 wraps. There we go. Tighten the knot. And then snip. And where's my head cement? There it is. Head cement. We're going to, even though you put that knot in there, you want to make sure that knot's going to come out. So you put some head cement on there. Just a little drop will do you. And there you have it. You have a loop wing emerger with a quill body, and hopefully this will catch fish. Oh, it will catch fish. It's just here in Tennessee this winter we've been having so much rain that the mountains have been saturated. All the tailwaters are, all the dams on the tailwaters are sluicing water, meaning are unfishable. It's unsafe. But anyway, hopefully here in the next week or two, I'll be able to get out and try this fly. Thank you for joining me,